Welcome to this demo of AWS CodeStar. When you log in, you can find AWS under the Services and Developer Tools, and you'll also see a number of other AWS Code services as outlined in the PowerPoint in previous slides. But to set up our initial DevOps code pipeline, let's go through and use CodeStar. CodeStar is a free service offered by AWS and allows you to use a number of the code services. This is especially helpful for people that have never set up a automated code deployment and code pipeline for deployment. And to begin, let's start with a new project. So when you first start a new project, you can have a number of different templates, and on the left you can choose from a different number of languages: C#, HTML5, Java. I want to use Node.js, and I want to put it on a Lambda server, and it'll bring it down to these selections. You can choose if you want to deploy to Elastic Beanstalk or directly to an EC2 instance, but I prefer Lambda for these demos. So let's do a Node.js web application. So when you select your template, you're going to be asked for a project name. So let's give it a simple one. Build pipeline test, and you can select from a different two different types of repository. You can either use the Git compatible AWS code commit or GitHub if you already have a repository on that service. Well, in this demo I'm going to be using AWS code commit, but this is here, and you would then have to provide credentials in order to deploy automatically, and that's beyond the scope of this demo. So AWS code commit, you give the repository its name, build pipeline, and let's hit next. So this is one of the process flow I was talking about earlier. AWS CodeStar, the deployment pipeline works from source to build to test to deploy, and then monitoring if you set up that CloudWatch. So and as you can see, the different AWS code services work under the different projects. For source control, you have code commit. For build and test, you have AWS code build. For deployment, they use AWS Cloud Formation and monitoring these different services. So let's just start and create our project. Now you can choose your IDE, and one of the selections that's available, that's also another AWS code service, is AWS Cloud9, which is a browser-based IDE. So I'm going to select that for this demo. As you can see in the background, it's also creating the repository. On this section, we would then select the type of instance our AWS Cloud9 environment would run on. Let's stick with the free tier, and you can name it different, and you can even select which VPC it'll be placed on. I'm going to select the default, and this is all the basic stuff is fine. And here's another cost-saving thing. You can actually when you start up your cloud-based IDE, you can actually have it auto shut down if you're not using it, which can help you save money if you're using on-demand instances. So right now it is currently setting everything up. There's a demo AWS a sample code that it's going to be put in the repo, run through the build checks, and then ultimately deploy it out, and we'll actually be able to link to it in this application endpoints. And once we do that, once we get a application endpoint available, we'll click on it, we'll view what the original, and we're going to make changes through two different ways. We're going to go to the code commit repository and make an edit and see how it automatically starts deploying a new version. And then we're also going to use AWS Cloud9 to see how that tool looks overall. As you can see, the AWS CodeStar has finished building and deploying the pipeline. Now let's click on our endpoints to see what it looks like. That's a nice Node.js application. But you know what? What's missing is a comment underneath here. I'd like to put a message out, something important to me. So let's go through a simple way and go through the AWS code commit to make an edit, just like we would through GitHub. So let's look at our code here. Open that up. Okay, so let's go to public, and let's open up this index.html. Alright, here we go. Right here is where that one comment was. I want to put it right underneath. So let's put another header in there. First we have to edit. Alright, I want to put this message in. It's very important. Okay, so to submit these changes, just like in any Git commit, we have to put our name in, email, and a comment. Okay, let's commit those changes. Okay, so if we were to go back to our CodeStar, and you should see this update relatively soon where it recognized a new change on the code, and I'll go through the whole build pipeline. Here we go. And while that is running, it'll take a little bit to finish. I'll introduce you to this dashboard. So this dashboard is convenient in that as a team you can invite new teams, configure issue tracker. If you were to use Jira, it has Jira integration, and You can create your own little wiki title. It's actually quite convenient for collaborative work. But I remember when we first configured CodeStar, we said we want to use AWS Cloud9 environment. So let's also bring that up while we're waiting for this build pipeline to finish. So this is my build environment. So let's just open that IDE. Okay, so it seems like a pretty full-featured IDE. You can run with debugging, you can step through different language support. But let's see if we can also find our public HTML. Here it is. Open that up. And you can see our line that we added here. And I already see an error. Right here, there's an H in front of this. So let's see how that renders on the final build. So still deploying. So okay, well, let's see. So in this, you have a terminal. So I want to finish this up. Add some new verbiage, and let's see. I'm still deploying. Okay, so here's your IDE. As you can see, if we go to our EC2 instances, let me bring that up. EC2. You can see there's one running instance, and it's actually our Cloud9 deployment. So, finish deploying. Now let's check out the endpoint. And as you can see, there's that H error. So, but it did change it from the original. As you can see, it automatically build. If you were to have some test cases, it'll run through those and deploy it. But now I want to correct that error that I found, and let's do a Git Config. So let's save this change that we have. To Git. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I've done a Git. Just one moment. So here we go. Let's make our comment so we can commit this change. Alright, control. Yes. Okay, so we just made that change, and we just git update. See if our code pipeline picks it up. We should actually see it in our code repo. hasn't committed. So let's push. Okay, that's done. Now we should see the change here. And it did. And as a result, we should now see it here in our source build pipeline. There it goes. And you can actually see the comments I made when I added it. And it's tracking I made the change. You can actually see our pipeline history. So you can find out who made changes, who made what change. And it's pretty nice, especially if you're just getting started with automated build pipelines. Getting sometimes Jenkins or OpenCI can be tough to get that all configured and set up. And you can use third-party tools in your pipeline. You would then just add a new step in for the testing phase, and you would set up and configure like Jenkins, and then you'd have to go and give it all the AWS keys, IAM keys, in order for it to get on the instance, run its test case, and then check back to say and continue with the pipeline. So we're just waiting for that to finish. So code deploy. Let's see. Build project. So my pipeline that I have here. So this is what goes on. And I believe because we use a AWS Lambda, I did not put in code deploy.